Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The last defenders are defending their great plan. We have Krotgar leading the Lizardmen against the Dark Elves helmed by Lokir Fellheart of the Blessed Dread. We have Felkon is going to be leading the Dark Elf forces, and Peske will be commanding the Lizardmen. So for the Lizardmen forces, we do have double Bastillodon solar engines, a nice good tool against potentially NA Scourge Runner chariots. And we do have Krotgar. He's going to be bringing Hands of the God, and he is on top of his Cold One. And then for the rest of the Lizardmen forces, we have 3 Pterodon Riders up in the skies, a decent skirmishing force, as well as 4 skink cohorts as well to provide a little bit extra ranged, and they do have poison as well for the missile defense, so there is a ton of poison from the Lizardmen. We have a front line of Saurus Warriors with shields. We have 3 of those, and then we have a couple Cold One Riders, one of which being the Spear ones. And we have a Skink Priest of Beast is going to bring Flock of Doom and Transformation of Kadan. So a very straightforward Lizardmen army. These Bastillodons do very good work against kind of the skirmisher forces that the Dark Elves can bring, and a lot of poison sources to really help in that melee engagement, especially with only 3 Source Warriors or Shields. That should help quite a bit with slowing down the advance, allowing those solar engines to do the work, and allowing those Cold One Riders to act as cleanup. Now for the Dark Elves led by Felkon, we have Lokir Fellheart. He will be up in the skies on his dragon, and he will be bringing the Helm of the Kraken, providing himself with a nice bit of regen and melee defense as well. We have also the Dreaded Duelist, giving himself a nice little 22-second buff to melee defense and melee attack. Very nice indeed. For the rest of the forces, we do have the Chillest of Centaurs, that War Hydra ROR unit, with his frostbite and armor-piercing attacks. But we have a very mobile force. We have 3 Dark Riders with repeater crossbows and 3 Dark Riders with shields as well, so that is going to pretty much overwhelm the mobility of the Lizardmen, but the assistance of the Pterodons might be able to swing that back in their favor. Otherwise, front line is a bunch of Dread Spears, 5 of those, but we also have the Blades of the Blood Queen, very good anti-infantry armor piercing, and they also have Guardian as well, so that will help protect Lokir and the Sorceress of Shadows, who is going to be bringing a couple spells to add to the mix, and she'll be bringing Enfeebling Foe and the Pendulum. Pendulum, not a whole lot of good sources here. The Saurus Warriors with shields can be a nice decent target if they are engaged in melee. Otherwise, Enfeebling Foe will likely be being used more often than not. That will be our army, so let's get this show on the way, as the mobility is quickly shutting down these skink cohorts and quickly getting on top of them. But a nice countercharge coming in from these Cold One Riders, doing a little bit of damage, but these Dark Riders are able to pull out of that engagement fairly quickly, and that solar engine firing into these Dark Riders with repeater crossbows, doing a nice bit of damage. These Dark Riders, one unit is already routing, only taking about half damage, but they do have a little bit lower leadership, and these Pterodon Riders might be able to stay on top of them and push them off the map. But otherwise, we do have a Transformation of Kadan going off. One of the Feral Manticores getting down, probably looking to shut down one of these Bastillodons, or actually probably more likely going after that Skink Priest of Beast, or actually, I'm sorry, that was a Lizardman, so he's going to be going after the Sorceress of Shadows and doing a lot of damage on that first attack. Otherwise, just kind of circling around and doing already 50% damage on only 2 attacks, and just another hit will likely cause that Sorceress of Shadow to rout, getting a nice pendulum off before that does happen. So the Dark Elves will try and salvage this situation with their magic kind of depleted already, but they should be able to keep them in the fight. Pterodon Riders doing a good job keeping those repeater crossbows off the map, so very good micro on top of Peske's end. Otherwise, Felkon using his Lokir Fellheart to kind of chase off some of the Pterodon Riders. Otherwise, the Lizardman mobility coming into this nice little engagement, as the Dark Elves just able to break those Pterodon Riders by getting a nice charge onto these units, and they should be able to rout potentially that entire mass of units. But the biggest threat here is the Blades of the Blood Queen, as well as the Chill of Centaur. Not a whole lot that can really counter that. The Solar Bastillodons will have a bit of ability from range, but the second Manticore summon is coming in from the Lizardmen, and that summon will be able to pretty much finish off that Sorcerer's Shadows if they so choose it, but instead it will be electing to go on top of the Chilisantar, and these Stellar Bastildons continuing to fire up at Lokir, not taking a whole lot of damage, but one of these units is being pushed back by some of these Dread Spears, so the Dread Spear is doing some good work there, but that Feral Manticore going to be quite a problematic foe indeed, as the Chilisantar taking a lot of damage, but does get a little bit of healing back, as it is a Hydra, and here comes Lokir to help in this engagement, with Krokgar taking a decent bit of damage, and with that dragon soaring on in, that will definitely sway this engagement into the Dark Elves' favor. Ladies of the Blood Queen, though, have taken quite a bit of damage themselves. We do have two of the Dread Spears, though, shutting down most of the Bastillodons. That is a very good play there, but a lot of the mobility of the Dark Elves is being shut down by the Cold One Spear Riders and Cold One Riders. These Repeater Crossbows really need to try and stay alive. That's Skin Priest of Beast pretty much using both of his summons. He still has Flock of Doom, but otherwise most of his spells have been used up. Chilisantar has been routed off the field completely, but Lokir is going to be engaging with these Pterodons, making quick work of them, and he still is at full health, and he does have regen as well. So there's not a whole lot on the field that can go toe-to-toe with him. I mean, Krokgar is engaging him in battle, but Lokir just needs to turn around, and that will do quite a bit of damage there. But having both of the Bastillodons come in to support might very well prove to be too much for Lokir to deal with, although there is spear support coming in as well, though the Source Warriors are also going to be assisting in that engagement. Though the infantry department definitely looking good for the Dark Elves. Even though the mobility has pretty much all been pushed off, the spells and all of their skirmishing cav looks to be off the field pretty much for good. But here is Lokir looking to deal that finishing blow to Krokgar. We do have the Pterodon Riders just as they're about to provide a little bit of poison assistance in this engagement. They do rout off the field. Solar Bastildon just kind of firing straight into the ground, probably trying to target Lokir Felhart, as Lokir is relentless in his pursuit of Krokgar, and it may just be enough to help those Dark Elves kind of get back into this engagement. Bastildons with solar engines are such a good unit here. A ranged artillery piece with terror as well, and then Lokir hopefully is able to kind of pull things back. But we shall see, as now the Cold One Riders are coming in back to this engagement after pushing off all of the Dark Elf cavalry. So we'll see if things are able to go the way of the Lizardmen, as they do have their mobility coming in. So pretty much anything that gets routed off the field now should be able to be pushed off completely by these Cold One Spear Riders. We do have some Skink cohorts as well, and the King Priest of Beast, who should have some Flock of Dooms in his back pocket to cast down on this final engagement blob. Lokir doing some good work, though. He is taking out Krokgar for the most part, though Krokgar is going to manage to sustain himself, and he will be just kind of sitting in the wings. Doesn't want to get too close to Lokir for that exact reason, as Lokir does do a massive amount of damage. Krokgar does have cold-blooded on him, but he does go down to another chomp. But these two Bastillodons with Solar Engine, we will see if they are going to prove a little too much, as a lot of the spears even are starting to get pushed off, as it is just down to the Blades, the Blood Queen, and Lokir for the most part, as there is still quite a bit of Lizardman forces left. And things are definitely looking grim for the Dark Elves, as I don't think there's anything left in the wings for the Dark Elves to kind of come back with. Lokir continuing to just take shots from those Solar Bastillodons, and it does look like the Lizardmen are gaining the upper hand in this engagement. Pterodon's going to be flying in as well to really just completely surround Lokir. He is not going to be getting out of this engagement, and that will be our match for today. I would take a look at the after battle report. The Solar Bastillodons definitely the MVPs, that stopping power, or I guess staying power, of the Lizardmen here, able to just hold that line. Very, very difficult to take out of the battle, as they do have Fear Terror and those solar shots doing quite a bit of work, and the Cold One Riders actually doing very well in this matchup, being able to drive off the superior numbers of the Dark Elf mobility. And even though Lokir was able to pretty much put Krokgar into the dumpster there. It was not quite enough, as King Priest also kind of that low-key MVP of the match, getting both of those Mana Core summons, just able to completely make that Sorceress a non-factor in this engagement, only getting off one Pendulum, and that was all that she was able to do, as the Dark Elves are pretty much out of magic for the entirety of that match, while the Chill of Sontar did shatter, even though it got a lot of its healing back. It was not going to be coming back to that battle. Still getting 93 kills, pretty respectable, 146 on the Blades of the Blood Queen, but a very fun match. I do like the double Solar Bastiladons for the Lizardmen. Very, very nice, and all of the poison as well. I think that's something that you don't necessarily see in the battle, but that was definitely a big factor for this, having, what was that, 7 different sources of poison on the field, so pretty much able to fire individually on all of these frontline units, or alternatively on all of the mobility units, just slowing them down, reducing their combat effectiveness. Very, very strong ability there. So it's a very fun match though, and I hope you all enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.